to be picked away, so I was very shocked that it wasn't. Of course, being first pick this time around, Sivir being such a giant priority to me was very curious when Gragas has had such a big impact. And Azir, like, early pick the Azir if you really need to. I feel like there's just so much priority in getting counter picks in solo lanes, as opposed to just getting a strong champion.
Well, Braum once again going to be banned away here as Gangplank did hit the bench as well. Trundle not going to be seen at all in the first 3 games. Poppy also going to be taken away, and it looks like it's very similar to the draft from game number 1. As Sivir is of course going to be locked in, but that means once again Alistair Gragas makes a bit of sense.
I feel like you've just done my job for me. I don't need to elaborate. I think that
well, I feel like Legacy from game number 1 did it for us, honestly. Like, we've seen this before.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely think that it's worth getting those champions. There should be no reason that they don't. That is an adaptation I like, however, from Dio.
And look at Fantix as well. I mean, this guy's grinning on your screen. You can see him towards the left, almost glanced at the camera there, very slyly.
He likes the camera.
It's like he's asking Chuchus, can you play Vega?
I believe he can. Have we seen that before? I swear we have in the OPL.
I don't think it's something that Choose will go towards, though.
Not recently, anyway, Well, Sybil, back to his old tricks. I would very much like to see the Shen.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he played either of those 2 champions now. After seeing all the different champions that Sybil likes to bring out in the
There's
OPL.
always the assumption that Soraka's picked with it, and they're yet to actually have their last rotation. So Shen was locked in. I guess it can be flexed between top and jungle. Of course, we've known that Sybil is the one who would play it.
The severely global comp.
But it's unlikely.
Okay. Sybil's got a smile on his face.
Well, it's not like Kindred's a bad pick by any means. It's
No,
just
of course not.
3 games in a row.
It's conflicting between the teams, right? So lane swapping, you would say, is much more essential just by having the Kindred there. Because you want to get farm, you don't want to get gank. So forcing Carbon to help take turrets or be on a particular side of the map that is predictable makes a lot of sense from Direwolves. I hope they lane swap with what they've got so far.
I do like that they have Azir back on their lineup now with that Kindred. So 1 less champion for Legacy to knock you out of the Lambs of Spite, and 1 more for Direwolves to keep Legacy off it.
Yeah, they at least don't have the combination of both the Gragas and the Azir, but Choose, of course, playing Azir a lot recently, definitely understands what's strong against it, and his Zed has always been something he's been comfortable on. Of course, has been hovering it for quite some time, but see whether it does get locked in as Callista once again let through, and that's a Lulu as well.
That is a scary draft from Legacy so far.
Yeah, the Lulu locked in can be flexed with top lane. Also, Tally has played a chunk of Lulu and has been quite successful on that champion.
And it's dangerous once again. Legacy have the last pick. With, like you mentioned, Lulu being a flex pick, it can go for Tally, which they have been trying to do a lot, unless Graves is open. And it could potentially be for Chuchus as well. So a 2-prong attack coming in from Legacy. We'll have to see what Direwolves pick up as their final 2 picks in this draft stage.
My only concern is that they've gone with Callista with the Lulu. So
yeah,
early signs dictate that Tally will be playing a carry top laner in response to having the Lulu there, so that the teleport ganks and team fighting can be much more impactful, or at least variable with what Lulu does.
If he does play a carry top lane, hopefully it would be as strong as his Graves, because that was a phenomenal performance.
I mean, you can
like to
hope,
see it again.
but not many champions go 11-1.
Well, not many players go 11-1, but Tally is one of those that you can look out for to do just that.
Well, he did it last game, so I'm not going to combat that one at all. As Legacy now to make up their minds, it is the Maokai and the Janna locked in here for the Direwolves. So once again, some more displacement added. Do like it out of Cuden, a bit of an adaptation there, making sure that he can keep Raze alive. And the tree again for Sharp.
Yeah, it's actually a solid comp once again from Direwolves. They've got a lot of damage between their 3 carries, which would include the jungler. Zone control as well, where they're actually quite safe and disengaged from Cuden. They've got engaged to an extent. Maokai is always reliable going in with Sharp to speed him up. So options are there for Direwolves. Janna Sivir though, I would imagine they still swap.
Oh, it's a lot of turret damage as well as Yasuo picked up for Choose in the mid lane.
Hang on.
Oh, actually, yeah.
Is
I say
it?
Choose in the mid lane.
Because it could
Tally?
be top lane. We need to wait till they actually lock that in. Yasuo top lane has been being picked up a lot more. I'm not saying that I would prefer it into a Maokai.
I believe Brandon Swiper Holland has been recently tweeting about the old Yasuo in the top lane, saying that he's going to dodge if ever he sees one. I'm not sure whether that is because they're on his team and he doesn't like how they work, or whether it's because it's very difficult to deal with, because right now it's in the hands of Tally, and you're exactly right. I spoke a little bit too soon.
20 seconds is lock-in time.
True. 1, 20.
So it is Yasuo up in the top lane. He's going to be able to, he's not going to be able to. We have to see if he's able to try and chop down this tree. But it's anyone that knows how to chop down trees, it's going to be Legacy.
It's true. That being said, he doesn't have a Lumberjack skin. It's not quite Scion versus Maokai, my personal favorite matchup.
Yeah, so Tally, with this particular pickup, you would imagine goes the split push heavy build. Phantom Dancer with Trinity Force, I believe, is the standard for Yasuo's at the moment. The question always first and foremost comes in with Keystone Masteries. Grasp of the Undying is the standard pickup for Yasuo. So lots of options here for Tally. Early Hex Drink is always good into magic damage champions, and Direwolf's very magic damage heavy with their comp.
Yeah, and we'll see how sharp he's going to be able to navigate this as well, because it's going to be difficult for him to stop, I guess, the Yasuo from just freely farming in this lane. Just being the Maokai, you just want to sort of neutralize. And Tally, we know what can happen when he gets ahead, but ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear from you. You're going to have to get behind the Direwolves if you think they are going to be able to take down this game. They are down 2. Use that hashtag DWWin, or if you think that Legacy can go for the clean sweep, use that hashtag LGCWin. Of course, anything you want to talk about, use that hashtag IamOPL. Our players ready to get on the Rift. You can see already Legacy all business at the moment as they're looking at match point here in this semi-final, booking themselves a date with either Sin or the Chiefs, and we're on Summoner's Rift.
They are loaded onto Summoner's Rift. We'll have to see what these two teams decide to do at level 1. As it looks like, once again, Legacy are just going to be fanning out across the river, spotting out the Direwolves, but they don't spot this little invade from 3 members of the Wolves. They are trying to ping it out, and Tally is running away. We'll have to see where the Wolves go from here. Does look like they want to get a couple of deep wards down into Legacy's jungle, and it will be Kunin that walks over to place the lane ward, just to watch out for any lane swaps coming in from Legacy, it seems.
Yeah, so Tally's snuck past the vision by being there early, but Carbon was also late to even get into the jungle. They do know, however, where the ward was placed. In Legacy, once again, it's a Yasuo into a Maokai. They could potentially look to hide the Yasuo early through lane swaps, get a tower down each, and then do exactly what they did in Game 1, which was prioritize farm onto Tally, so that when he starts split pushing, he can effectively do so. There's no way for Fantix to answer this time around on Azir. Whereas Choose, they've got potential 1-3-1 strategies. As I will just say that Carbon actually popped all of Sharp's saplings based off his health bar.
Oh, that's
denying
cheeky.
the Raptors.
Very cheeky. Is Fantix going to start up the laning phase here against Choose in the mid lane. A bit of a mirror from what we saw in game number 1. Is now raising Q and heading over to see what they can do. Oh, Tally already charged up that Q. Got a decent knock up there, and he's going to make sure he secures the Krugs. Oh, Boomerang, not enough.
Tally, the killer of Krugs.
Yeah.
But it's been matched effectively, the lane swap from Legacy. You can see Alistar and Kalista.
Yeah, double teleports towards the bottom side too.
So both the teleports burnt from Direwolves and Legacy, which means that we will see the standard lane, so to speak, the reverse of the lane swap. So you have both the duo carries, the 80 carry and support up at the top lane. Mid lane is going to head to the mid lane, and all the top lane is down in the bottom lane instead. Junglers are both going to be starting on the top side of the map. We saw the Krugs being protected by Tally, and as Sybil and his kindred once again farming up the blue, and he's able to get that blue buff for himself. Tally already looking a little bit aggressive in this bottom lane, just running at Sharp, making him back away.
Well, every time Yasuo's got his flow and has the shield available, he can effectively trade, so no surprises to see aggression. And once again, just have to highlight how important standard lanes were to Legacy, even delaying their own getting to the lane by making sure they had standard and forcing teleports across the board. So it was a very big deal to them, but they are successful in getting it. If game number 2 shows anything, they kind of want the standard.
Well, Carbon actually looking for some cheeky action here towards the bottom side of the map, but instead just going to body slam his way to a Grump, continue farming things out, making sure that he's following his trend that he's set up throughout the OPL, which is get Tally ahead and then jump on his back. Beautiful.
Sharp is going to take a little bit of damage from Tally down in this bottom lane. We'll be able to regenerate a little bit from his auto attack due to the amount of spells that Yasuo does churn out.
Undying as well.
And Grasp. As Tally does get his Tornado available, immediately he forces the tree to back away. Sharp is chugging his potions here and is out of mana. So Tally does have one potion and his Doran's Blade available to keep him healthy. This mid lane just trading back and forth. And it's going to be the AD carry support from the side of Legacy that take away the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, making sure that there's no marks to be picked up from Sybil. Like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Denying that. They had a bit of time as well because Legacy are pushed. And this is the, I guess, curious thing. And I will say well-timed from Legacy with their wards in the top lane because bottom is frozen effectively for Tally. He's managed to, he even tanked the wave to keep it in the position where he can feel safe and not actually get ganked. And as the carry top laner of the two, one being Maokai, of course, Tally needs to have it in his control. Whereas this side of the map, having an Alistar Kalista, not that safe, which is why they've got the early wards, and they've timed it with Tally freezing. Because it's the assumed gank route, right, from Sybil.
And both junglers now are heading towards that bottom lane. Pink will be put down by Sybil. Carbon drops a ward immediately, but look at this. Tally and Sharp looking to pick a fight with one another. He's going to actually try and jump onto Carbon here, trying to avoid that body slam, it seems. But just going to be a trade back and forth.
So that was actually really cute from Carbon. He actually tried to bait the flash. So Sharp, outthinking himself almost, uses the Twisted Advance, expecting a flash. Nothing happens.
Yep.
Would have been really cool if he had have tried to use the flash body slam. The Twisted Advance on target ability would have actually really helped, but unfortunately nothing happened.
Exactly, and he was just trying to bait the summoner spell out of the Maokai. It also forces you to play more passively if you don't have your flash available, knowing that Carbon likes to hang around.
And speaking of Carbon, he picks up the Scuttle Crab on the bottom side of the jungle as well, so he denies another stack away from Sybil. As we head back in towards the mid lane, Choo Choo's is slightly ahead on CS, as they're just going to both poke back and forth. They've each played this champion once so far.
But we can play the cookie game.
Oh, yes.
Because Fantix has none. So every piece of poke that Choose gets onto him is valuable. Because he'll get pushed out of this lane and doesn't have teleport. He's running heal on his Azir.
He's actually already been back as well. Picked up the double Dorans and the boots instead of the Fiendish Codex that Choo Choo's managed to purchase.
Which is what I mean by a greedy build path also. He's gone for the boots opposed to a refillable potion at a pink ward. Very greedy.
We'll see if he's made to pay for it. As right now we can see Tally did go back, grabbed himself a Zeal. We'll see what he turns that into. You mentioned Trinity Force or the Phantom Dancer. We'll see which one is
generally.
Yeah, well, Sybil actually. Oh, misses the headbutt. Pulverized his regret as there's the barrel. As Sybil's trying to turn this one back around. He manages to get the smite. That is going to mean that he at least collects his jungle, but loses one of his summoner spells. As you're right about Choo Choo's and pushing out Fantix. It's getting dangerous here for the Azir.
Carbon actually threatening the dive. Choose wants to ideally stop the recall, but oh, never mind.
Gets it.
Carbon will.
Yeah, so you did mention he got the boots, a little bit aggressive, a little bit greedy, I should say. And does mean he has to go back to base. Choo Choo's flashing forward for this.
The heal use.
Oh, that's massive, but there's the ultimate! Fantix with the sick outplay and gets the first blood!
Wow!
I feel like Choo Choo's forgot he had heal. I think is the best way to explain that one. That wasn't just stopping a recall that time around. That was a massive blunder by Choo Choo's, and Fantix makes him pay.
Oh,
that was so cute.
It was actually, yeah. So the heal was timed well. Of course, Choose doesn't have Ignite, but sick outplay. Most importantly, even getting the shield on the E.
Wow, what a play from Fantix. Greedy build, but the greedy play from Choo Choo's costs him.
Lots of greed.
Lots of greed.
Tally as well, falling down low. As Sybil paid a visit towards the bottom side of the map. Carbon now with a ward in the red pit. And it is Santa Gragas this time around. I like it.
No presents for the mid lane. Too greedy.
Always
on the naughty list.
There always needs to be some sort of Santa Claus in this game, apparently. Not sure which one the first one was, but Fantix, regret coming around for a gank. The cows are out. There's the body slam, though. Gets the knock-up with the wild growth. Fantix finds himself in the bouncing castle, and Sybil just has to watch his mid laner die.
And apparently rides are free in this middle lane.
Damn right they
The
are.
Direwolves is absolutely wrecked, is the only way I can explain it. The body slam, level 5 Gragas into a Lula ult, into a headbutt pulverize. 2 rotations of Glitter Lance come out from Choose. And they get an easy pick up there. Good
Boing,
rotation.
Boing, boing, boing,
Most
boing.
importantly from Regret.
Ridiculous. Nicely played.
This once again though, so it's a Janna support from Direwolves, right? Like there's no real roam threat, whereas Alistar's got all of that control, and by roaming around and trying to force Kudna leave, it's effectively a one-on-one, and King's fine with that. He has boots of swiftness. He runs fast.
You can see Blue Buff is going to get contested here by Legacy. They take it away. Smite had to be used there but from Carbon as there's the ultimate from King. Regret might actually be a little bit too far forward.
That's
As
big.
massive engage from Sharp. Has the ultimate there as well as Regret trying to actually get the engaged Tally with the ult in, but gets exhausted. Now finds himself on top of Cute, and Fantix has locked down 2 already as Sharp picks up another. King's gonna fall down as the Direwolves now thriving in the chaos, and Fantix is doing so much work. Sybil, what can he get done? He's just gonna die to a barrel as now Cuten's gonna knock up Carbon, and he's gonna take matters into his own hands.
Legacy lose 4 members there. Tally, the only survivor with full health. Not hitting the same targets here between both of all of these members, I will say, of Legacy. Direwolves, though, on the same page. A ridiculous engage from Sharp, to be perfectly honest with you. Flashes over the wall and hits King, who flashes. So wastes the flash, is now stuck, getting hit by Fantix. And whilst the combo was good, and Tally hits a 2-man ult, he's exhausted, so it doesn't do much, right? Whereas Sharp sits there with his ult popped, never goes down until the end of the fight, and Raze with that flank.
Oh, that was beautiful from Raze. Perfect flank. Hit the targets that Direwolves needed him to. And they come out on top. And Direwolves looking good in this game. Don't have a huge gold lead for themselves, but a small gold lead nonetheless.
It brought it back.
Yeah.
So there was a very unfortunate start to the game from Direwolves. CS discrepancies started to form. But with that particular trade, Azir is further ahead essentially in the laning phase than Choo-Choo's is on this Lulu, and he will start to struggle now, Choos.
And we saw how scary Legacy can be in standard lanes from game number 2. With that play from Direwolves, pulling it back is something, you know, saving grace almost, you could say.
Well, the thing is, right, it's not about standard lanes. This is old Direwolves. This is what what we've actually raised already is, are Direwolves going to go back to this chaos style? And that team fight was exactly that. I mean, talking about a team fight at 9 minutes into the game sounds like chaos to me, and that's exactly what Direwolves thrive in. We'll see whether they can make it work as Devourer completed now by Sybil, and we'll see whether he can stack it up this game.
Well, I mean, Legacy are pressuring every single buff, every single camp, and every single movement that Sybil makes because he's got that Devourer, right? Like, they're trying to focus Dragon, they looked at red buff with wards, they then walked over to blue buff after ganking mid lane. Sooner or later, they'll make a mistake with their positioning, and Direwolves most effectively pull the trigger on that.
This is something that Legacy have had control of throughout most of this series. It is the Dragon. They're going to pick up the first one of the 3rd game here. And in 6 minutes, we have to see if they continue this aggressive dominance of that Dragon Pit. Meanwhile, Direwolves are able to take down the top lane outer turret.
Yeah, but they trade it for gold, right? So that outer turret you mentioned is actually big for Direwolves because that's gold for the entire team, and they will still match it. The question is, Legacy, they're not trading bottom. They're actually not getting it at all.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Fantix actually going to grab himself the Rift Herald buff. Sybil is going to be able to pick himself up this Rift Scuttler, and Cuten going to grab himself a little bit of the experience from that one as well. Enemy Raptor Camp is going to be where the next mark is for the Kindred, so Sybil probably not going to move over there. We'll see how he does go as this game moves forward. Now picking up stacks from a few sources and having a bit of a better time doing it now, especially compared to last game.
Do you think Azir has a very sore left hand? Like, the amount of times he flicks his hand out aggressively to tell the soldier what to do, it must hurt. Like, wrist injuries everywhere.
He's a bit like Tryndamere, I think.
It's actually
one
like,
of his arms is really
he
strong.
Aggressively throws out his arm. Like, look at that.
You know, it's
like he is actually attacking at the same time, but he's just pointing aggressively.
I think it's balance, you know, he has to point with his left arm and hold his staff with the other.
The socket man.
Poor guy. He's just a powerful dude.
Hope he has insurance for that.
He's the Emperor of Shurima, man. You know, I don't think you question it. But Direwolves and Legacy now find themselves in actually standard lanes. As Legacy looking to defend this bottom outer turret. Raze and Cuten just playing the let's kill the minion wave and make them deal with it game.
The Sivir PvE battle, essentially. Forces Kalista, who goes for the Blade of the Ruin King first to single target under the turret. Sooner or later, the turret will fall. So the Singe theory.
Found Carbon here as Fantix is going to go on a ride. Nice flash is going to dodge it, and Sybil continuing to go aggressive. Sand Soldiers are there. Sybil picks it up with the red buff, I believe, as the Direwolves lock down a kill. It's 6-3 now.
It was a good flash from Carbon, but no ultimate used on Choose. Opting into saving it. You might regret that now.
Aggressive from the Direwolves, and they're looking to continue that aggression towards mid lane turret. Legacy are able to clear out as many minions as possible and only get a bit of chip damage down, but they are grouping up towards this mid lane, even calling Sharp down here to continue this push. And Rift Herald is still on Fantix, So he will have the extra attack speed on these minions
This is
to
gone.
deal more damage.
Oh, good.
Teleport coming from Tally. And look at this. King's looking for a fight.
Yeah, there's the Fate's Call.
Wow.
Regret, massive knockups. Look at the last breath as Regret finds himself all the way on the other side of the team fight. He may actually die from this as Carbon's going to find his way in. Double knockup from the barrel, but Sybil, he's still there. Lamb's Respite still available. And how did no one die? What's going on?
Nobody dies. Legacy get a good engage, but they can't follow that engage up with damage. Carbon wasn't alive. If that was a 5v5, that was lights out for Direwolves.
I'm going to echo what you said, Max. Thriving in chaos, exactly what Direwolves are doing. That was a fantastic engage with Legacy. Direwolves don't lose a single member.
And this is just the Maokai, let's be honest. Like, he goes very far, right? And he's the tank. He's tanking the turret. No one can kill Sharp, and that means they can't get through to the backline. And even though Carbon comes in, doesn't have the ult to consolidate that fact. It's too hard to pick up kills right now. Questions on damage for Legacy.
Yeah, awesome disengage as well out of Cutum with the Monsoon. Really making sure that nothing else could happen. Of course, Regret was like, oh god, what am I doing in the middle of no man's land? But, I mean, you talk about, Direwolves thriving. I mean, that seemed like it was even to me. Because, no turret was gained.
No exchange, but surviving that massive engage from Legacy.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing.
Again,
They're
it was
ahead.
a skirmish engage as well, so like the damage isn't actually there as Raise.
Yeah.
Nice try.
Baited out the spell shield there as Carbon looking for the body slam. Lots of damage from the W, but blocked by minions. Cool. Frustrating.
Well, Tally wasn't even close enough. I feel like they're not on the same page with that call. Right idea. Push Raise out. He doesn't exactly need to be pushed out. He was going to probably recall anyway because of the numbers advantage.
But they're going to be able to push towards this bot lane out of turret. Legacy, Carbon, and Tally going to be able to put a lot of damage down onto this. Nobody from the side of Direwolves are close to defend it. But look at this push from mid lane.
Yeah, exactly. Mid lane turret is exactly where they're looking right now on the side of the Direwolves. Choose is going to try and defend, but a lot of damage out now from Fantix with that Nash's Tooth completed. We'll see whether Regret's going to be enough to deter them, and it looks like he is. So they defend for now, but it's very low.
Sends him back.
No, this is a battle of patience here from Legacy. They're all losing health bars to Fantix, and it's an aggressive build path from Choo-Choo's. He's maxed the cooldown reduction route, which means Fantix hurts on this Azir, needs to go potentially the Abyssal Scepter next to at least get some kind of resistances, but when blasting one.
Well, teleport's coming in. They're going to try and again for another engage. Massive knockups are in there. A knockback, though. There's the Monsoon as Direwolves. They're trying to hold on. Yes, Sybil able to use the ultimate quite nicely at the same time. And Direwolves with the sick disengage.
Whoa.
Direwolves' composition is so well executed upon. Honestly, Kuden's ults, his Monsoons have been ridiculous. Fantix is able to divide them well enough to the point where Tally can't even use his E aggressively. Yasuo still has the ultimate. It's the one thing to consider, and so does Carbon.
Well, this turret is going to go down, so Legacy are the benefactors of that little skirmish. Able to neutralize, but once again, I mean, look at this fight.
I mean, the big unfortunate thing once again is that they couldn't get Tally's ultimate off. It's just like he does use it. I take that back. It just wasn't onto the right targets at the right time. The disengage from Kuden diffuses everything.
And it's not like Legacy are chaining their knockups poorly. That was a beautiful chain of the knockups there, but
They've got the wombo. Well, that's fine.
And they're hitting it, but that disengage is disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, Sybil going to find himself a little bit behind enemy lines without the Lamb's Respite, so probably going to want to chill out just a little bit.
Why did Choose not go Rod of Ages as well? Rod works.
I swear, every competitive Lulu I see has a different build.
Well, this is max CDR, like to wave clear as much as you can. The problem is you'll take a lot of damage from it, right?
Look at that poke.
Exhibit A.
For instance.
Fantasy's just like, you, leave, go. Every time he points at it.
Thankfully has teleport, so the poke he takes is able to be kind of brushed off.
Well, Tally just going to clear himself out with some Krugs as he continues his little farm game. Being the split push carry man that he likes to be, definitely in his element right now. Phage is done, so building towards that Trinity Force. Yep. Exactly as Rusty predicted. And Choose now just shoving this wave out. So they've broken the mid lane, and we'll see whether we're going to see Legacy once again pushing into the enemy jungle and utilizing the map lead that they have with that turret down. But Sybil, he may get his first dragon.
Yeah, sneaking it over the back of the pit, so Dials, they get one back for their team. I'm not sure if this is even the first one they've had all series.
Feels like it.
It might be, actually.
Legacy had so much control of this dragon pit. Surprised they're not there for the second spawn of the dragon. But they have been able to keep this middle lane turret alive for an incredible amount of time. Being this low on health, feels like we're back to game number 1. And we saw both these teams dancing around the mid lane for an extended amount of time. We'll have to see where the two teams decide to group up next.
So the build's the same as well from Carbon this time around. He's going Banner of Command. I think that's actually a very big point in the game where aggressive plays out of Legacy is much more achievable. Because once you go Banner, it takes a long time for Sharp to deal with it. Fantix also can't really deal with it. The Sand Soldiers, I believe, do 0 damage. So he can't use a Sand Soldier on the minion wave if he's trying to kill the cannon.
I thought you were going to say once you go Banner, you never go back. So that's what Carbon's been doing this whole split. This whole series.
But Sybil is actually going to find him here. He wants another auto attack, but doesn't quite get Wolf to bite him. They're going to clear out some vision, though, as Cuden helping out his jungler, who's very close to getting that Satyr Devourer done. I have to expect. It's now Sharp, just going to clear it out. Answer Tally pushing towards the top side. Sunfire Cape's done, now building even more magic resist. They'll probably be looking for the Frozen Heart.
So another thing as well, like early laning phase, Yasuo does magic damage on the E.
Yep.
So the armor isn't all that great, but Maokai's passive actually counteracts it. So the problem is, like, if Tally presses his ultimate, it's 50% armor penetration. So armor stacking is okay to an extent.
Whoa!
Get him.
Yeah, Sybil going to take more than half of his health from the Baron, who has an invisible shot at him. That's pretty rude. He's going to jump. Yeah, he's going to jump over to the blue buff, but it could actually be dangerous. It's Perfection trying to get some work done, but that's a fantastic engagement. And Fantix is going to fall immediately. Blade of the Ruined King used onto Cuden, who has to pop them on soon. He gets rendered, is going to be slowed down as Tally is just going to launch after him. Cuden's pretty damn good on this Janna, though, and will survive.
I think that's what we define as dead. Fantix.
Yes, so dead.
Like,
super dead,
literally everything's used. Yes, Baron has been started. It's a Blade of the Ruined King Kalista, so they take it down quite quickly. Lulu's very good at keeping people healthy. Not many ultimates, though, here from Legacy.
They are going to turn. They're trying to jump back on towards Sharp. He is really tanky, but that's like a hot knife through butter as Legacy slay him immediately and go straight back towards Baron.
It's like a bait party from Legacy. I feel like they're going to disengage again and try and get kills. They need to be careful.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of damage from this one as Sybil's going to find his way back in. There's the Wild Growth, another knock-up onto Cuden, but the Lamb's Respite's there. Sybil is going to stay alive for now. They're trying to lock down some kills, but the Rend is so strong, and they take them both down. Tally and King both getting one. They don't get the Baron, but they get what they're looking for.
Legitimately a bait party. Like, I couldn't have put that any better during it. All they had to do, Direwolves, was wait.
Yep.
They didn't know how much health the Baron had, though, so they can't wait. They have to go and check, and that's where they continue to go down. They will likely get this turret for it, though.
It was a great play from Legacy nonetheless. Picking up so many kills in that Baron pit after one pick. And just like that, they are able to pull the gold lead back for themselves. They're 1,000 gold ahead of Direwolves. It's not that much, 22 minutes into the game, but as a gold lead nonetheless. Tally looking to try and increase it even further, pushing this top lane outer turret down. Will even up the turret that Direwolves were able to take in the mid lane. But it looks like Legacy are back onto Baron once again. They don't know that this is happening. Direwolves just see two people in the mid, one person in the mid lane, one person in the top lane.
No, they see it now.
Yeah,
they have to run away. They should run away.
They're going for it. Teleport's
They're
coming
not
by
running
Sharp.
away. Yeah, Sharp is going to try and find his way in. We'll see whether he's going to join the bouncy castle one more time. On the hunt's been popped. But Direwolves not going to be able to catch up to Legacy this time. They'll just disengage.
That was very coy from Legacy. Tempting fate, honestly.
Sneaky.
Maokai had a Sivir ultimate and his flash available. He could have gone in if he chose to. Legacy using this Baron as like a base of operations.
Well, they get themselves the teleport as well as the on the
not even
hunt.
an ally. Like,
They've signed a demonic pact.
they're using an enemy as a base of operations. They're like hitting him in the head saying, Direwolves.
They're like, Baron, get out of my pit. This is where our offices
It's like
are
playing
going.
against two enemies and losing resistances but still making it work. It's very confusing, but it's effective.
It also shouldn't happen here, especially when the game is so close as far as that money is concerned. Legacy going to take themselves down the Sun Turret. Or is it still called a Sun Turret when it's the other skin on the Azir? I don't know. The Eye of Sauron gets taken down? Not sure.
The badass turret of badassery.
Yeah, the badassity turret. I like it. Lock that one in, Matthew.
That's all I got.
No, it's good. That's all you need. But 1,500 gold is going to be the lead here. It's Legacy pulling ahead. But slowly this time, this is a much closer game, and especially game number 2, but also game number 1. Styles definitely still in it. And with Fantix on a champion that's quite powerful in the Azir, already has that Rylai's Crystal Scepter, things may look a little bit better for the team.
Well, we can take a look where they are on the map now. King is going to be able to take away his red buff, putting a lot of spears into that poor jungle minion.
The Brambleback.
Oh,
He was definitely a Brambleback then.
Okay. So red buff does go on over towards King. The rest of the Direwolves are grouped up as 5 in this mid lane. Tornado will hit Kuden. Does a bit of damage.
Yeah, but he's caught out. Like, he just revealed his position, and look at the way Sharp's danced. Like, Direwolves are trying to siege mid.
They're doing just that. Getting a lot of damage down onto this mid lane inner turret.
It's because King was top. There's 2 people on Legacy who have teleports or could at least feign teleport. But their AD carries top lane.
Yeah, not going to help, but Legacy going to continue to push out. They just lost a little bit of damage on that mid lane inner turret.
Dragon.
Well,
Yeah, it's being taken.
Legacy's side lanes are pushing. Dragon will go on towards Direwolves. That does mean Sybil is sated for this team fight, which is going to break out. Regret 9 diving deep, but so is Sharp. He's going to be knocked back in towards the pit. They throw Regret 9 out once again. Huge knock-up coming in. Tally will get 2 from that. But look at the backlines. Ray is all over everybody. Double kill for Sharp. He's being chased down by Tally as Raze is desperately trying to run away. But a huge fight for Direwolves. And they pick up 4 kills.
That was disgusting out of Fantix and Raze. My God.
Tally against the world right now. Direwolves, they've won the team fight. They still have Lamb's Respite. And Baron is available to them, and they have started it up.
Legacy had Baron on their side previously. We have to see if he is swapped over to the Direwolves.
Nothing short of a miracle would get this.
Tally is looking for it. Gets the knock up at the Fantix. No ultimate available. The Baron is going to go down towards Direwolves. Kuden is chasing down Tally. He gets a nice tornado once again, but a lot of damage being put down. He should go down here.
Dead.
He is gone. They get a delayed ace and a Baron buff.
Yeah, and that is a Baron with 40 seconds and no Tally available. This engage from Regret was left wanting. It's like, yeah, you headbutt Fantix away, but then immediately pull back in and don't target Fantix. It's so mixed between these teams that, like, even though the Azir ultimate was good, it doesn't do anything because the damage threats of Direwolves are still putting down the hurt. There's so many threats that Legacy have to deal with, and they don't all deal with one together. They deal with them all separately. It's not enough damage.
And once again, Kuden's ultimate was fantastic in that team fight. It was a beautiful disengage, kept everyone, including himself, healthy and alive.
Absolutely, yeah.
And what it did as well is it clumped up Legacy so that Ricochet and Sand Soldiers killed all of them at the same time.
Yeah, so the priority right now on Direwolves is like this, keeping them close together but also splitting them apart. Like, Sivir hitting a front line does so much damage to the back lane. Like, watch if any of these crit on the turret even. I'm saying that as is.
Oh, yeah.
Also noteworthy.
Started to do a bunch of work, looking to finish that Void Staff by the looks of things. As Choo-Choo's going to get delivered. There's a twisted advance to get Sharp right on top, and Fantix sends all the soldiers into him. The Lulu going to get picked off and destroyed.
Let the games begin for Direwolves. 3k in the lead with the Baron buff. No mid laner for Legacy available.
Wolves are hungry. They're still pushing towards this mid lane inhibitor turret. They have the Baron buff available. No mid laner for the side of Legacy. Windwall does come down for Tally to try and stop this. Carmen does get blocked by the tornado.
Oh my
he
God.
gets melted. Regret Knight tries to go in, but there's only 3 members from Legacy alive. They will take down the mid lane inhibitor turret. They're going to work on the inhibitor as well. Direwolves are 4,000 gold up and in the lead in this game.
Yeah, that is ridiculous, man. Direwolves, they just brute force their way through. This side is looking very strong right now. Tally's not able to get a lot done on this Yasuo when it comes to team fighting. He's unable to split as well because they're just grouping.
My God.
Painful.
The Ricochet is doing so much work.
No
Baron
carbon
buff
for
still
10.
there. Double siege minion as well as Windwall is about to wear off as Sharp. May actually be a little bit too deep, but no. He gets healed. They're going to get the turret, and Legacy going to try and clean up. Sun turret falls down in the mid lane, but the base is in shambles.
Absolutely is. Legacy hold the second inhibitor, but they've lost their middle one, and there's nowhere for them to go on this map. Whilst Direwolves have recalled. This is backs against the wall. Direwolves stepping up in this series.
Thriving in chaos. Precisely what they've done this game so far. We talked a lot about their mindset going into game number 3. Both teams had the right attitude. It seems like Direwolf's mindset of making sure that the 2 games didn't affect them has come out on top so far.
Well, they're making Azir look like the most ridiculous champion as well, because at the moment, he's looking very strong in all 3 of these games, no matter who he's in the hands of.
Yeah, he's got his Void Staff built up now, so a little bit of magic penetration.
He actually just went from blasting one Amp Tome to Void Staff and a Neasly Large Rod. That's a big buy. In fact, 2.25 gold.
Look at this from Legacy, though. No. They're being sneaky. The ward will spot them out. Trying to pull a little bit of Fnatic there.
Good foresight by Raze in order to throw that in there.
Sybil's nearing a flank. He needs to be a little bit careful as well.
A little wolf spirit's like, nah, get back here. Get back here.
That was very cheeky, though, from Legacy. They're trying to defend the outer turret in the cheesiest way possible. That's a sign that they're recognizing how far behind they are.
Doesn't work. And that means that Direwolves are going to continue their push down in this bottom lane. No Tally down here as well.
Oh,
look at this, the teleport is coming in. That was brutal damage coming out. Sharp is going to run aggressively towards this inhibitor turret. They take down the inner and outer turret, now working their way towards the inhibitor.
There's no answer to Azir, man.
They can't do anything about him. As Choose down quite low. Half the health of this turret is now gone as Direwolves looking to set up shop here towards the bottom side. Someone has to deal with the super creeps in the mid lane.
Eyes are on Carbon with engaging and Regret. Like, they have to go in or they just lose the game.
Well, Regret's going to start it up as Tally's going to get the ultimate as Fantix. They try to take him down, but uses the E. There's the Emperor's Divide. He's got them all where he wants them. And Regret now taking so much damage. Sybil able to take down Choose, but King gets rid of him in response. But Raze is doing so much damage now. That's a 409 Sivir, I believe. As the Direwolves, they take down their second inhibitor.
Is this game?
And they're looking to try and end the game. Exactly right.
They're getting some damage down onto Carbon. He's really low, has to run away. The first Nexus turret
Runs
has
away
gone
to the
down.
Death Chamber.
He is trying to stay alive, trying to keep his team still in game number 3. But that is the second Nexus tower going down.
Tally.
They jump for the Tally. He is gone. They're working on the Nexus. Game number 3 looks to go in Direwolf's favor, but King is trying to stop this from happening. They're getting auto attacks down. King is still trying to put spears in, but it's not enough.
The
There's still people there. They're trying to go for it.
Sharp tree!
Can he get it? Sharp's gonna punch it. He has to hit it one more time. Is he gonna get it? Yes, he does.
Just branches the Nexus down, and the Direwolves, they answer back in game number 3, making this a 1-2 series. Still match point for Legacy, but momentum now possibly in the Puppy's favor.
Well, Legacy dropped branches on people, and that's exactly what Sharp did to the Nexus. They're punching it as the tree. What a comeback from Direwolves.
If Legacy are going to be dropping branches on all the other OPL teams, they may as well drop a branch on their Nexus, and that could be their weakness.
Direwolves, of course. We have to talk about how they won the game, not just by dropping branches, man.
Yeah.
They just out-skirmished and out-team for Legacy, who were trying to do it to them.
Yeah, it was incredibly well played. And do you think it all comes down to that first team fight?
The 9-minute team fight that they had, the teleport, it was Legacy being coy one too many times. It came back to bite them, and credit to Direwolves, man, that engage was spot on.
Yeah, really impressive play, but we are going to throw it back to the desk to break down that match.
Thank you so much, Atlas. And I said that every dog has its day. Well, maybe every wolf has a game, because that was a pretty impressive one. I got the second one in there, by the way. I promised you guys that I would. This was interesting to me because I kind of agree with Rusty about the koi thing, because I want to talk about the first engage. We're talking about the one where Maokai flashes over the wall and goes into like 3 members, gets the flash out of King. But he kind of looked like he lived for a little bit too long. And then that came back and bit them on the behind, because Choo Choo's was by himself, kind of like, why don't you just help me out? And Tally, for once, was off chasing a Janna.
Yeah, the big issue is that Tally split from that team fight, and he chased Janna as well as Kindred, two of like really high mobility champions. And frankly, I think if you're going to point any fingers this game, Tally goes from having an incredible Graves game to a non-existent. Like, I'm pretty much of the opinion that as soon as you blocked in Yasuo, that you forfeited that game. Like, that's how hardly I stand on that. And obviously in a standard lane, like even Maokai versus Yasuo in a standard lane, I still don't think it's the best matchup for Yasuo. I think that's actually fairly easy for Maokai to overcome. We were talking about this kind of an EQ combo just does so much damage, but you have to have 6 items as a Yasuo to be relevant. You have to stack in as that composition, like you're trying to, you know, Gragas Cask into Final Breath all 5 people into a Maokai who's going to negate. I mean, his ultimate's effectively an exhaust.
Kuden did work all game long as well with the Janna. Like, we know he's a good disengaged player. It's funny that, of course, the Soraka player is the person now bringing Janna into a win in an OPL semifinal. But I think
Soraka
Maokai
wouldn't have been awful there either.
No, of course not. And they actually considered it probably. But Janna, Maokai, just like, no. Like, your plan is to engage on us the whole time. Azir, Janna, Maokai, stop your team fight, win a team fight eventually because they scaled up pretty quickly with the Sivir and just kill people.
Yeah, and in the end, that's what it came down to. Let's talk about the Sivir-Azir combo a little bit because I love this combo. The idea against Sivir, right, is you're kind of trying to separate your front line and your back line because the thing that she does really well is if she hits your front line, she crits your back line when she gets enough items.
Yep.
They were trying to create that separation, and time again, Fantix, the perfect mid laner, I have to get that one right, was just able to put the front line back onto the back line and win team fights. I think the Dragon fight was actually a really good example of this, where they were trying to dive onto Raze and just could never get to him.
No, yeah, I completely agree. But it's even worse than that because not even he had what, Essence Reaver and I think Static Shiv. He didn't have the Infinity Edge complete and that Dragon team fight, and you counted the crits. He crit 3 times and 5 auto attacks.
And one of them was a reset as well. So like you watch it and he's like, auto attack, oh, that one didn't crit. Let me get my W in there. Yeah, oh, nailed it.
Oh, good, crit.
Perfect.
Yeah, nailed it. Yeah, and
Got it that time,
and that's the
boys.
power of Sivir, to be honest. Like, I think Sivir's she's clearly a very good champion. You have no problems with Sivir, really. Like, she's solid in lane, very safe, creates good things for your comp. It's kind of a utility, 80 carry. And then as soon as she gets 3 items, or if you're a very good player and you crit often, which good players we know they crit more, and you don't have 3 items, but you just crit a lot, Sivir just does silly things. Like, 3 item Sivir is absurd. And we saw that in those team fights. Like, you can't beat, like, you're not getting in on the comp, and you're never beating them in damage.
This is the big issue. When Sivir was really potent and powerful, Essence Reaver didn't exist.
Yeah.
And so the issue is that Sivir had a mid-game power trough because she's always been a 3-item 80 carry. So champions like Ashe, Caitlyn, Sivir, Tristana, you need to have those 3 items before you Jinx, before you can take off. But now that Essence Reaver exists and how she's utilizing crit and how it then affects with that item, it's like everything that was weak against Sivir when she was really strong now doesn't exist anymore. And so she's just like, she's stronger than she was back when she dominated the meta. And the first pick this series, completely 100% agree. Like, teams need to be respecting. If Sivir's not first pick globally, there's a problem.
Yeah, it certainly is. So they do first pick Sivir and they pick up a win. So the Direwolves hit back. Let's see if they can do it again. We'll be back in 3.5.